Tired of Hey guys and gals, what is good? What is good today? How you doing? How are you doing? It's great to have you. Man, I'm good, guys. Just going through mod pain right now. Annoying stuff, it really is. My chat bot decided to disconnect. So annoying. Are you connected now? Close. Yes, there we go. I gotta test this. Okay, guys, bear with me. I think, okay, enough Streamlabs. I just turned my mic on. Like, sheesh. Man, one day it'd be great just to have somebody doing this for me. Okay, bear with me, guys. If you kind of want to just get right to, like, I know it's live right now, but if you're watching this when it's not live and you want to get right to the learning, please do skip forward while I kind of deal with this stuff. Normally I bring up my chat bot, everything's good and golden, and of course when I go live, that's when I find out that it's disconnected. Okay, one sec here. Trust me, I want to throw out the F-bombs right now, big time. This stuff frustrates me to no end. Okay, and here we go. I don't even know why it turns off is my question. Like, why even disconnecting? Like, what's up? Okay, that looks good. It's working. All right. Thanks for stopping by, chatbot. Nice of you. Unbelievable. Okay. Some quick quotes. We're going to get right to this, guys, gals. It's great to have you. It's great to have you. It's feels like it's going to be one of them days again. I'm telling you, things are not. I like things to go smoothly, you know? No issues. Just nice, smooth flow. Keeps a person kind of in a good mood, you know? Okay. Let's go, vibes. I'm always pumping you guys up. I need to get pumped up too. Let's go. All right. Okay, good. That's enough of that. Done with that. Bye-bye. All right, let's get into this. Supporters, followers, guys, gals. I appreciate the support on the channel. Every single one of you beautiful people. You know I appreciate you. You know I do. I'm always saying it. Right? Especially the ones that aren't quitters. Man, you guys, every single one of you are winners. Okay? Every single one of you. Winners! I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Okay, you can look in the mirror and you can say, I am a winner. Because you are. The quitters, they're the ones wearing the dunce caps. You know, they just can't deal. They just can't deal. Real talk's too much for them, I guess. I don't know. Too much, can't handle it. Okay. All right, guys, gals, that's enough of that. We gotta have some good vibes here going on. We're gonna get to learning. That's what we do over here. Those of you just dropping by, checking it out for the first time, it's great to have you. I'm telling you, I mean that. If C++ is something you're interested in learning, I recommend you start right from kind of the beginning. I'm going step by step in the series here, in this series, C++ lecture, classes, series, however you want to look at it. That's what we're doing here. We're doing a lecture, following a course outline. That's what we're doing. Okay? I'm basically transferring all my Twitch live content over to YouTube. Without going into great detail, I must. So the series is there on YouTube. Johnny with WhiskeyTango Sharp Coding. Let's go. WhiskeyTango Sharp. You should be able to find it. Support the channel. It'd be great to have you. You know, there's a lot of work, guys. This is time. This stuff takes time. It takes time, guys. Things takes time. Did you know? It takes time. Right? Guys, it takes time. I'm not just twinkling my nose over here and everything's happening magically. No. But I do enjoy doing this. I do. I'm enjoying the coding. Of course, I enjoy coding. I'm enjoying kind of teaching and the instruction part, helping you guys and gals learn. Hopefully I am. That's kind of the goal. Again, if you're just checking it out for the first time and you want to learn, I recommend starting from the beginning of the series. It's just gonna help, guys. All right, and you won't get that lost feeling, you know? I don't want you to have that. No. I don't want you to have that. Okay, I want you to succeed. I want you to be successful at this. That's the goal. Okay, we are doing a lecture class over here, just to be clear. All right, that's what this is. It's not a 5-minute YouTube video on how to write a variable. Where's my certificate? I think that's the kind of stuff that most people can't deal with. But if you're still around watching, man, you're great. You're a solid person. Solid individual. You can deal. Jokes are fun, aren't they? Look, it's 3 a.m. Still programming. No, I'm just kidding. I am doing programs. I do more programs. I smashed out a program in like, I don't know, an hour or two last night. Done. Done. It was great. I already had one of them done, so a lot of the code was kind of repetitive, so that kind of helped, guys. I had the, I don't know, the bread and bones, the skeleton of the code. I don't know. That's what I came up with. That's all I could reach out of my old mind, right? I had the base. I had the base code. That's what I mean. So yeah. All right. Well, it's Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Lurkers, twerkers. It's great to have you. Thank you for being solid. A solid individual stopping by, supporting the channel. It's not an easy grind. It really isn't. It really isn't. I don't want to go on a tangent. So, but yeah, it is. It's a tough grind. Not an easy one, I will add, especially... Keep my inside voice inside. All right, we're gonna get going. Look at me not getting off topic. Wow, controlling my emotions and thoughts. Not bad, not bad. Happy Friday, it's great to have you. Let's get going. It's time to learn. I need a shaddy yaddy. Let's get some learning done. We must put on the old thinking cap, boys and girls. Flick the old switch in the brainium cranium. Again, it's great to have you. Followers, supporters, you know I appreciate you. Okay? I say it all the time. All right? And yeah, let's leave all the dunce cappers wearing dunce caps. Okay, I'm not saying everybody's stupid, okay? Not everybody's stupid or wearing dunce caps. But I think there's a lot of them. Whoops. My bad. All right, let's go. This doesn't reflect you guys and gals, right? Those of you watching the content, still listening, you're a solid individual again. And yeah, you're inquisitive, you're intelligent, you want to learn. It doesn't even matter what is said. Well, it probably does, but you're here to learn, right? You're here to learn. I respect that. Okay, so let's get it to the class, and enough of that. Just one of those days, what a week, just things going on, guys and gals. Doing my best to keep my personal stuff out of the lecture, right? But yeah, that's all it is, just going through some things. Okay, but let's push on, right? Get up, stop crying, and trooper on. Let's go. All right, note that you don't have to use the compiler provided default constructor, right? So if you don't write one, right, I still call this a default constructor. I've written it, but behind the scenes, it's there. It's invisible, but it's there. And it will do the magic for you. And that's it there. That's kind of the one. That's it, default. It has no parameters, nothing. Obviously, I already have it. Oh, it does kind of recognize it because, you know, I don't know how to type. But anyways, that's the one. Hiding behind the scenes. And you can type your own. Yes, you can. Okay? There's nothing wrong with it. Depends also what you got going on too. Sometimes you don't need it, or sometimes you won't include it. Just depends. Like, I'll have to explain in future streams that you can have like this, like a class in itself that kind of controls your objects and manages your objects, and then your regular classes really don't need a constructor, because that's kind of what the constructor does. It manages the objects, essentially. It's an object manager. Okay, so you are always free to write your own default constructor, that is, a constructor with no parameters. You are free to give your default constructor a function body in which you might initialize the object. As a matter of form, it is always recommended that you define a constructor and set the member variables to appropriate defaults to ensure that the object will always behave correctly. I feel like I kind of read all that, but we're just kind of recapping. Also, a matter of form, if you declare a constructor, be certain to declare a destructor. Okay, let's continue on. Now, if you've been watching the series and that, you'll have my thoughts on a destructor. I kind of have, do I have notes there? Yeah, it's right here. Okay, those are my thoughts. Let's see. So the magic we got going on. What did I change here? I didn't really change anything except for maybe that. All right, that's okay. We'll just build it, clean it up. So we could do more things here in the into main if you wanted to test more things, but let's see. Okay, running it. Everything's looking great. We're accessing our default constructor with a parameter list, if you will. And then we're expressing the cat's age and the cat's weight, and then a couple of methods here that we've called. We can, through code, update and change the values of the cat's age if you want through code. I could do it through the setter, would be one way. So I could still call Frisky or use Frisky object, and I could set the age, I could set the weight if I want. So it's one way of doing it. I believe that would be resetting it. So one way to find out is to we could do this. This may work. Let's see. Let's do some testing. Okay, trying different things. All right, so initially the age is, let's say the cat is 10 now. Okay, and then we're just gonna pass it in to our set age, and then yeah, this would work. And then we're gonna print it. Right? Yes, of course it's gonna work, because we're kind of duplicating what we've already done here. So you do need this extra step right here where we're actually reinitializing the variable for the age. Okay? It's a little bit of a long variable, but it works. You get the idea. Building. Let's run. And there we go. Let's see. So now the cat's age is 10. See that, guys and gals? So that's how you kind of make changes. Hello, chat. I need to do this. Let's do this. Let's also do this. Just to create some space there between the regular stuff and the methods. These are the methods. Okay? So just to show you that, right, that's how you could kind of change it through code. All right. I was going to kind of go into detail about the sets. It's not really common to use them in here. Something like setting is something that you would either not include or you would have it as private versus public. Okay, because this is kind of a way for people to kind of do, mess with things a little bit, right? So, but just to show you, you can do this, right? If you're practicing and learning, why not? So there you go, right? And if you're not satisfied with the information in the methods themselves, you can change them here anytime. It's your code, your program. You can kind of just test and do different things. One thing also I wanted to mention, let's just see something here. Let me just run this, okay? So if you've been following, you'll know this is basically my object. And this here, these symbols represent my object being deallocated or things being cleaned up. So then you're probably wondering, well, how come we're not seeing the one from the constructor, right? So let's talk about that. So right here, and it's really easy, quick answer, to be honest, guys and gals. The constructor we're using right now is this, I guess you would call it an overloaded constructor, right? Because we're actually, it has a parameter list, right? So we're overloading the default constructor in this sense. And you can do this. You can have more than one constructor kind of doing different things. Stay tuned, you'll see if you're following and watching along. Bear with me. Thanks for understanding. Some days I have good days, some days I have bad days. Every day is not perfect, guys. Okay, so I do try my best, and I am here. All right, continuing on. So with the default constructor, the only way it's going to be called is, well, if we don't have parameters, right? So if you, as you can see, let me just go like this. Okay. Right now we are using our parameter list constructor. Okay, and then it's printing out unique. Are we printing it out somewhere? Where are we printing that out? Little bit of a barometric pressure change just happened. Wild sauce. Okay. All right. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to comment this out because I feel like I was printing this somewhere. Where was I printing that? Oh, yeah, it was the constructor itself printing it. That's right. Okay, so yes. Okay, so just recalling here. So in order to see that, right, you actually have to call that specific constructor, right? So this is a little bit extra information, a little more details for you. If you're wondering why you're not seeing it, that's the difference, right? It just depends on which constructor you're calling in your program, right? So this one's going to call the default one. The default one, you don't have to put these there, okay? I guess you probably could, but it's not normal or common for you to do that. Okay, so now we should see that symbol that I use for that my object has been created. Okay, essentially that's what that is. All right, so there we go. See? Drop the big yays. So just a moment ago, guys, it was kind of wild. Well, not really, but it happened. So I'm like, I got a headset on, right? I'm listening to the music that's playing as well. It's on low on my headset, so it's not too loud. And I lower the volume also on YouTube for you guys so you can actually hear me instead of having loud music blaring at you. So with my headset on, all of a sudden it happens to everybody. You get that ear ringing sound, the ear ringing, the ringing sound in your ears. So I felt a pressure drop, a change in pressure, barometric pressure. If you didn't fall asleep in school, you would know that. But yeah, that's what just happened, and my ears were started ringing. It's like, oh my God. The things that have been happening to me lately, you guys wouldn't believe it. It's just crazy. I don't know if that was a yay moment, but it happened. All right, let's continue. Let us continue. We're going to keep moving forward, but I wanted to explain those little details, right? You're not going to see it. If you're not, you have to call that specific constructor. So the way this object is written, the way we're using this object, it's calling the default constructor, okay? The parameterless one. All right, makes sense? And then the other one, right? Because the program knows which one to use. You can't have both of them happening right now, okay? It's an A or a B thing. Okay, so now you're not going to see that because, well, we're calling the parameter, the one with parameters, right? And then it's printing out what we're passing in. Okay, makes sense? I hope so. Let's keep going. I'm just wondering if some of this information in the course outline is, helpful at all. I don't really want to read it all because it kind of goes line by line, does a breakdown, but I'm really not following it verbatim, so that's a little bit of a difference as well. Okay, destructors never take parameters. That's important information. And neither constructors nor destructors return a value, not even void. I don't even know why they would say that kind of stuff. I never even thought of them like that. I never really looked at constructors as methods, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, they do look like one, right? Show the implementation of the constructor. It is similar. My apologies, guys. I'm kind of just mumbling reading here because they're talking about line by line in their code. Like the constructor, but differing from other. No return time. No. Okay. Blah blah blah. Okay. I think we're going to continue. Did I read this here? Do you use constructors to initialize your objects? Yes. Okay. Do use constructors to initialize your objects. Do add a destructor if you add a constructor. Okay, that's their tips and advice. I guess the way they do things is a bit old school. I don't know. It's probably the same concept, same theory. No changes even in 2025. To do these sort of things. Some of my programs, I set up a class itself that actually manages the object itself. So in your regular or base class, this would be essentially a base class, I guess, technically speaking. You wouldn't use a constructor or a destructor because the object class, the object manager class, is managing the objects, right? So it just depends on the circumstances. And also, with that said, I'm finding with learning and grinding more code, because we're always learning. There's always something new and different to learn. Technology is changing. You have different. Let me just see here. Go here, right? You have different languages. Each one has their own unique syntax or something going on inside. So there's always something new and different going on, guys and gals. So there's always something to learn. It's always changing, right? Always changing. The basics and the theory and the syntax, it's all the same for the most part. Well, yeah, for the most part. Some of it's different. Just depends on what you're using. Okay, but we'll get there. Here's some don'ts. Don't give constructors or destructors a return value. Okay, so whenever you hear that, guys and gals, all it means is don't put in return. Okay? All right? That's all it means. Okay? They're not used here. They're only used in the int types, or the double types, or the float types, or the bool types. Okay? Void is the one that doesn't need a return either. Okay? So that's all they mean. You got to notice those little differences. Okay? And don't give destructors parameters. And that's true. Never do that. Okay? Parameters always go inside here, right? Parameters are always inside here. Okay? Of course, it's broken because, you know, that what I've typed there is wrong, right? But that's where they go. And again, they say don't. Okay? Just don't. Right? You might get fired. Right? You will have people looking at you very funny in a weird, awkward way if they see parameters in your destructor. Okay? The other word of advice, again, if you're doing this at home, who cares? You do you. It's your program. Nobody can tell you what to do in your own home, right? Per se. I do these sort of things. Again, if you're in a business environment or working for a company, don't do that, okay? You can put something like that. All right? This will tell them that you know what you're doing. All right? That's my tips and advice. But while you're testing in that, it doesn't hurt to do this kind of stuff. Because you could run your program and see that your objects are being managed, especially if you're newing up. That's dynamic and heap memory, okay? That's a new term for the day. Man, I don't know what's with my throat today. Okay? It's a little early to talk about this, but it's a concept called newing up. Okay? I just call it newing up, because really that's what you're doing. All right, stay tuned. That's down the road. We're just gonna worry about stack variables or stack allocated objects. Okay, that's all we care about right now. All right, const. Right, I've kind of already gone over const. I'm in the section where it's called including const member functions. Okay, I've already kind of gone over that. I wanted to show you guys that right from the get-go, because I'm not like gonna treat you like little babies and give you the easy, simplistic, like, because I know you're intelligent. You can handle a little bit extra information, right? So always const your getters. Okay, always const your getters. And then I also recommend getting into the habit, even if you don't know what passing by reference is yet, but with your setters, pass in the ampersand. Okay, this is called passing by the ampersand. We do have to do a video just on that. Passing by reference. Okay, we're going to talk about it now, just a little bit in detail. I like to talk about stuff early, so that you have an idea and a concept of it in your mind, even if we haven't talked about it much. By the time we get to that section or that video, you're gonna go, oh yeah, I know this. it's just going to be so much easier for you, right? You'll never have that, I don't get this, right? The way I'm teaching, right? You won't have that feeling. Okay? I want you to be a winner. Well, you already are a winner because you're watching. So, with your setters, okay? With your setters, your syntax could be lowercase, uppercase, or uppercase, okay? Now, I don't know what companies use, what's the standard for those. I kind of got into the habit of using camel case for these. But always, always, always uppercase with your classes. Uppercase with your namespace. Always, always, always. Okay? However you want to write your variable names, if you want to call them, actually method names, my bad, is up to you. You could go uppercase, or camel case. Is that uppercase? Is what called camel case? No. Pascal case, I think so. I'm just trying to recall. I don't really, I know about this stuff, but I don't really care that much to memorize. Camel case is probably the easy one to remember. Pascal, I think it's called. Pascal is, uppercase, yeah. Okay? Classes and namespaces. Mind you, come to think of it, the fine devs, that created the standard namespace, if I type it using namespace standard, it is lowercase too, so you could, technically speaking, follow that style, which is all lowercase. But it makes sense that they're doing that because the way you're writing code, everything starts lowercase. So that could be the reasoning or logic behind it as well. I don't know. So there's another little bit of advice. You can make your namespaces all lowercase. Again, if you're doing this from home, if you're an indie dev, that's your decision. Create your own template. Create your own guideline. Maybe your company will grow and then you'll hire people. I hope that works out for you. I wish you the best. I don't expect to succeed because I feel like I'm being canceled right now. But I'm not going to go down that road. But I wish the best for you, right? And then you create your own guidelines and standards that your employees have to follow. Okay? I wish you the best on that dream and endeavor. Hopefully I can help you with that. Don't forget to buy me a coffee. That would be great. Gotta have coffee. I must. Speaking of coffee, let's have some more. It's not good. I'm just under 12 ounces right now. Maybe 11, somewhere in there. I try to make that cup of coffee last because, as you know, I usually stream for 2 hours and I don't go for breaks or whatever, right? So, yeah. Okay, const, right? So if you watched the last video, I went over the definition of const. So this is what I'm recommending, okay? Right? Here they are. Here's our accessors. Okay, that's why I put them in their own little section. I organize my code too. Right? That's just me. I could do this. I'm in my own home doing this. So whatever other people think or say, I really don't care. This is me. This is mine. I'm not going to let others dictate to me how I do my stuff. Okay? I don't tell them how to drive. Okay? So they could keep their little over-opinionated thoughts to themselves. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, continuing on. You have used the const keyword to declare variables that would not change. Right, with variables. So that's what they're talking about, right? And I showed that. Well, we'll do a local one, I guess. Right. Let's see. I probably should use like a double or a float. Const. I actually use a define, hashtag define for MPy. It's a macro. So, but you can kind of create your own MPy. I'm just putting C because, well, it's not a macro. And then we could go equals 3.14159 something something something. Okay? And that's what they're talking about. Okay? In that statement or what I just read. You can also use the const keyword with member functions within a class, right? These are member functions, right? They're still functions. They're called method functions. No, member sorry. Yeah, it's a lot to say. I don't say that a lot. I either call them functions or methods. But member functions. Member functions. Say that 10 times really fast. See how you do. I bet you're trying. Bet you failed. It's not easy, is it? Okay. It's okay, though. I don't judge you, right? I'm not judging you. It's fine. Just laugh. Who cares? It's funny. Okay? Why are you so serious, Bob? What's your problem? Okay, I better keep going, okay? If you declare a class method const, you are promising that the method won't change the value of any of the members of the class, okay? You are promising that the method won't change the value of any of the members of the class. So when the information is brought out of memory, right, it's not going to be changed. So whatever was pulled from memory is what is given. To declare a class method constant, right? Remember, think of constant as read only, right? You've heard of read and write before. I hope you have. Okay. To declare a class method constant, put the keyword constant, or const, after the parentheses enclosing any parameters. Well, you can see the way I've written it, right? But before the semicolon ending the method declaration. They're saying that because what I say to you guys is just pay attention to the order of the way things are typed in your statements, right? This is a statement still. Just pay attention to the order, the sequence, okay, and you'll be fine. Right? There's a lot of different nuances, if you will. Like this ampersand, for example, could be in front. It just depends on the context of what you're doing. It's kind of the best way I can explain it. The asterisk actually is kind of the one that gets thrown around a little bit more. But anyways, that's okay. We'll get to that. That is the section on passing by reference we'll get to. So remember, when you're using passing by reference, make sure you carry it through. You can see it's still here, right? This is part of the matching, right? It still has to match. So don't forget it. Your program is probably going to yell at you, right? Again, in the header, I don't put the variable, okay? It's up to you. If you want the variable name there, that's up to you. You don't need it. Here's the variable name. Just created one right here. It's actually being declared right here inside. If you're wondering that, like where it came from, that's all we're doing. We're just declaring it right here, okay? I guess I should have explained that little detail instead of assuming you might know. So, but yeah, like we're not having to like declare it somewhere in here, right? It's its own thing. Okay? This is the only spot you're going to do it, and then you'll actually link it right here. This is the linking. We're linking this, right-hand side equals left-hand side. So whatever's passed in from the main, right? When we use this method in the main, whatever variable we pass in is going to basically be this one in the sense. And then it'll kind of leapfrog it. I call it leapfrogging. Bop, 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 bop. You know what I mean? It makes sense, right? Leapfrogging totally does. Right-hand side equals left-hand side. Or left-hand side equals right-hand side, I mean. Because, yeah, that's the way it should be said. Left-hand side equals right-hand side. Okay, to declare a class method, okay, blah, 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 blah. This declares a constant member method called, well, they called one, we're just going to say set weight, okay? Void some function const. Okay, it's a void. Yeah, it's still void. It's all the same. This declares, whatever you name your methods, guys, that's up to you, right? The method name is always going to be different. So it's going to be void, method name, colon, const, semicolon. This declares a constant member method called, right? That takes no arguments and returns void. Here's an example, right? This would be a better example of what I just read, right? These ones here. And as a matter of fact, now that we're talking about it, I could actually make these const as well. I can, guys, if I knew how to type const. Okay, I could copy this and I could totally make these all const. Remember, they have to match. Whatever you change in the header, this is the header. You also have to update the source code. Bop, bop, bop. Done. Bop, bop, bop. And then go back to your header so that it gets rid of the squigglies. Because now the linker or the compiler behind the scenes kind of the header file and the CPP file, they kind of talk to each other, but you have to kind of wake it up in a sense. Like you just got to go back. Just think about it. You have to wake it up. Just wake up. So there we go, right? So here's another example. We're advancing our code right now. We're using const, what's called const correctness. Okay, guys and gals, I'm teaching you this right from the get-go. It's just, you know, your program's gonna run smoother. Things are you're not gonna have any bugs. You're not gonna have any weird results when you run your code, because the values that are being passed along are not changed, or because they can be changed. They can be. Depends on what's going on in your program, right? So const it's a little bit of added protection, right? It's going to make your program run smoother, trust. This declares a constant member method called, doesn't really matter what name it is, Okay, that takes no arguments, returns void. You know this will not change any of the data members within the same class because it has been declared const. We're only printing out a standard cout statement. So anyways, the point is you can, right? Because this is obviously a simple generic kind of return, if you will. We're just standard outing information. It's not always going to look like this. You're always going to be doing something different. You could actually print out your sets, your set ages. I could do that, right? As a matter of fact, instead of saying I am printing something, I could actually print out my get weight, which is const, right? I can. So this is if you're trying to understand, well, if it's just string, right? Without const, we could be changing that somehow inside, right? So with print statements, you'll have print statements, and you could return your methods in this fashion. Should I use the standard end line? I am kind of lazy with the standard end line stuff, I know. But I can, watch, check it out. Get weight, right? So if I go back to the main, I'm kind of showing you here. But I'll have to call the print statement. Get weight. Get age. We changed the age there. So instead of me, how do I do this? I'm gonna call that method. Okay, watch this. Frisky dot print something. Okay, now we're using the print statement instead to return get weight. Instead of doing this, right? I don't need this here, right? I could actually take this instead, go like this. I'm going to comment this out. Okay, I'm going to comment it out. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to delete it so you can see. Okay, and then I'm going to go back here, and instead of going like this, I'm going to go like this. My cat's weight. Okay, I'm going to build it. See? This is better. This is better practice versus calling it like right here. You want to do it kind of behind the scenes, right? So I guess I'm leading up to that as well. So let's run it, and it should work, right? I am printing something. My cat's weight. Is that what it is? My cat's weight? My cat's weight. And check it out. It's not in here. You don't see my cat's weight here in the main. Right? We're in the main. Do you see it? Do you see it anywhere? Okay. Here we're calling the method using the object. And boom. My cat's weight is 12. Let's go. Guys, let's go. Isn't that awesome? It is. It's better to do those sort of things behind the scenes, okay? Call them using print statements, which is an actual method. And remember, it has to be const. Okay? Const correctness. A const can call another const. I don't know why they're called const, because they should be called cans, not const, because they can, not they can't. They're should be called can'ts. Can'ts. That's a hard word to say too. All right, I know that was a cheesy joke, guys. All right, don't unsub me. Let's go. All right, carrying on. Accessor. Let's see, where am I here? Accessor functions that only get values are often declared as const functions by using the const modifier. If we look here at our accessors, right? Const is with our getters, right? Because you're getting information. You don't want it changed. Setting obviously makes sense. You're changing stuff. You're modifying it, right? Therefore equals, well, you can't change values if they're const, right? Because that's the idea of const, to make sure that things aren't getting changed, right? Makes sense? Totally does. Okay, you guys are awesome, by the way. Just letting you know. Either you saw the, let's see, set cannot be const, okay, right? Just like I said, because it changes the member variable, right? On the other hand, can and should be const because it doesn't change the class at all. I'm not sure what they were saying there. This is the pattern, though. Just follow this, okay? That's the pattern. And it's the same all the time, guys and gals. Setters and getters are written the same all the time. They're really, that's it. Like, be very consistent. That's all you need to be, right? Make sure you match your, I'm not even in the right thing. Make sure you match your private variables because they're used inside. Remember, the setters and getters are what access this. That's the link, right? The setters and getters are the link to these. Okay, behind the scenes. Okay? You can see we're linking here. Just look at it like that. Keep it simple in your mind. It's really not that bad. If you declare a function const and the implementation of that function changes the object by changing the value of any of its members, the compiler flags it as an error, right? And you'll get them down here. I have it set up where I have the error list and the output. It's a little bit tricky to get that set up, so good luck. You can find it. I think it's view. Yeah, right here. Under view, that's how you bring them up. So here's error list and output. Okay? It's a little bit tricky to kind of get them to go beside each other here. I won't lie. Okay, but once I have mine set up, I like it. I don't even mess with it. I just leave it alone. Don't move stuff around once you set it up. Because it can be hard to kind of get it back. So a lot of people, you'll see their solution or whatever, this tabs is here. I could actually access stuff through here as well. Depends on what you're doing. WinForms uses the toolbox. But anyways, this is usually on the right side. Okay. But yeah, I like the setup I have is fine. You could also double screen these. There's a way to kind of take these and have them as split screen. There'll be like a little thing that pops up in the middle. So you could have it above, left, right, whatever. I prefer my setup. I don't mind going back and forth like this. I'm used to it as well, so it's okay for me. I mean, you do you. You set it up the way you want to, right? You could follow the way mine's set up. I'm fine with that. Or you could set it up your own way, right? You be you, man. You are a person. An individual that knows how to think for themselves. That's what I recommend. Learn how to think for yourself. I'm saying that in a nice way, I am. All right, let me carry on. Where am I? So, for example, if you wrote get age in such a way that it kept count of the number of times that the cat was asked its age, it would generate a compiler error. Yeah. This is because you would be changing the cat object when the method was called, right? The object is like changing, right? The object does a lot of stuff, right? If you notice, the object is holding the weight here, and then here the object is doing the print. The object is like taking in a lot of information. The object changes whatever it's doing. Like it's in control of doing all the different things, right? So it's not like a standard variable where it's constantly an int data type. The literal constant can change, yes, but it's only the value that's changing, right? An integer value. That's the only thing that's changing with a variable like this. But Frisky is doing a lot of different things. Right? You see that? So that's how things can get changed, right? Through the object. All right. It is good programming practice to declare as many methods to be const as possible. Okay, there you go. There's your tip, guys. All right, just a little simple tip. That's a pretty good tip. Okay, I'll put that down here somewhere. I've done a little bit of cleaning up. I'll put it in double quotes. Okay, it is good. So I'm just going to put const, right? Just so we know what we're talking about here. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. All right. Each time you do, you enable the compiler to catch your errors instead of letting your errors become bugs, right? Yeah, because it'll flag, right? Let's say you kind of dirt burgered and you started trying to change something, whether it be a variable or incrementing or changing its value. The compiler will warn you. It'll be like, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing? This is a const," right? So it's kind of a win, right? It helps you. The errors are good, man. People that think, they could chuckle and laugh if somebody has errors, like, they're just being rude because, like, let's be real. They've had errors too. I'll guarantee they've had errors too. And if they act like they've never had errors, they're the ones that think they crawled out of their mommy and went, Mommy, look at the 8,000 line program I just made. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I don't think so, Tim. I don't think so. All right, let's continue. Each time you do, okay, interface versus implementation. Okay, let's get on to something new. Clients are the parts of the program that create and use objects of your class. You can think of the public interface to your class, the class declaration, as a contract with these clients. The contract tells how your class will behave. Right? As a programmer, guys, it's like you have a due diligence. You have a responsibility, right? And part of that responsibility is also being professional too, right? As well. So you want to follow industry standard practices. You want to write proper solid code. You want to use const correctness. You want to do all the little things, right? Again, your contract is to make sure things are working, right? Don't try to pass a program off to somebody. Say, "Oh, look, guys, I made a program using ChatGPT." And then they go to run it and it's totally broken. Like, wow, man, that's quite the feat you did there. Anyways, I'm gonna shuddy yuddy. It's one of those days. Happy Friday. In the cat class declaration, for example, you create a contract that every cat's age can be initialized in its constructor, assigned to it by its set age, accessor function, and read by its get age accessor, right? This is proper setup, right? You're getting, right now you're learning good proper setup coding practice, and you're protecting your data too better, right? Right? You're protecting your data in a sense. You also promise that every cat will know how to meow, right? Make sure your methods work. Note that you say nothing in the public interface about the member variable, its age, right? Nobody needs to know about this, right? They don't need to know this stuff, right? Right here, the private stuff is kind of like the key. Without this, the rest of this is all no good, right? You guys understand? Okay, remember, also make your methods const. Okay, it's good practice. That way, any information being spit back at the user, I say that in a figuratively speaking sense, is the correct information, okay, not modified or changed information, all right? Note that you say nothing in the public interface about the member variable, its age. Well, mine are still called its age, its weight. That is an implementation detail that is not part of your contract. You will provide an age, get age, and you will set an age, set age, right? Again, if you don't want people to be able to change or modify the age, right, you could not include them, right? That would actually keep them from being able to use it as well. They don't exist, right? They're not included. Okay, well, that's one way to do it, comment them out, or two, just remove them entirely. And the only thing they could do is actually just get them. That's it, just get the data. Okay, now there's a way to make these private. I won't lie, I really don't know how to set that up yet. Obviously, they would probably be most likely under private, but there's got to be a little more extra work that you have to do to be able to access the information. Okay. My getters and setters typically are public, so in nature. Okay. Yeah, right? So these are invisible, right? They can't be seen, they can't be accessed. I already showed you that in the main, right? Can't even access them. Only the class itself can access it, right? Remember that? Only the class itself has that information. Nothing else outside the class has that information, right? Because it's private. If you make getAge a const function, okay, which it is in our case, as you should, the contract also promises that getAge won't change the cat on which it is called. C++ is strongly typed, which means that the compiler enforces these contracts by giving you a compiler error when you violate them, right? It will. It will. And it's part of the learning and testing too, right? Try different things, guys. That's how you're going to learn as well, right? You want the error list to pop up. You want to learn how to fix things. Because you'll just be a faster, better debugger than the lazy people that use ChatGPT or whatever. Just being kind and real, okay? Push yourself to learn. Believe in yourself, right? Okay. All right, let's continue forward. So what they're doing here, let's see in their code, right? We're gonna get out of the cat class here soon. Okay, cat, constructor. They're not using. Right, I wasn't finished here. Hold up. Missing some details. So there's a way to. There's a proper way to do things. Okay, when you're. Let me just see something here quickly. With a I didn't set this up properly, guys, and my bad. Okay, let me show you the proper setup for this. As a matter of fact, I have to actually make member variables for these as well. But there's this thing called a member initializer list, which I haven't really got into yet. I wonder if this is the time to do that. Because they're not using ones. What they did is they went, which is common, the same way they do a set is what they did with their constructor. Same sort of format. Right? You can do it this way. Just the way you do a set, you can kind of set up your constructor the same way, right? You would have, of course, I don't have anything that is, let's see, I would have to create something called unique 1 and 2. Okay, just as an example, whatever unique 1 and 2 means, we don't know, okay? But these are just kind of random examples. Okay, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go like this. And I guess I'll just kind of show you. Okay, there we go. All right, under the hood, I've created 2 new variables. And let me go over, before I get too far, let's talk about the member initializer list. Let's see, I got to have this somewhere in here. I'm looking in my quick reference guide, gals, right now. I will share this with you over time, but I'm not going to, kind of scroll through everything right now. Okay, hang on. I am looking for... Member, where are you? Not 100% sure where I put that. I'm just looking through my table of contents right now. You could grab a quick coffee while you're waiting or something. Or pause. Or skip forward. Maybe I won't find it. Is that with constructors? Maybe. I feel like I went right past it. I might have to just search for it just to save time. Okay, I'll just do that just to save time. I'm sure I have it there, somewhere in there, but I don't want to waste a lot of you guys' time looking for it. Okay, a member initializer list. What is it? Okay. So like I said, we could do the same thing that you see here with a constructor. Okay. These probably not normally be printed out, but you would do it like this. Okay. This is kind of the, I don't want to call it the old school way, but you would do this. Okay. And then I would go to here and I would get unique 1 and then pass them to each other, essentially. Okay? All right. Unique 2 unique to. Okay, you can do it this way. Okay, but there's a better way. All right, let's teach you the proper. What's the best way to say it? The best practice, best industry practice, or best, yeah, just best practices. Okay, we're gonna leave it at that. A member initializer list in C++ provides a mechanism to initialize class members directly before the constructor body executes, right? So with that said, right, if I go like this is the constructor body, right? Guys, you can call it the scope, you can call it the constructor body, you can call it, why do I always do that? Okay, this is the constructor body. Okay, with what I just said is, it provides a mechanism to initialize class members, right? Because we're essentially doing that. We're initializing class members directly before the constructor body executes. Okay, it is a comma-separated list of initializers appearing after the constructor's parameter list and a colon before the opening brace of the... Let me just show you, right? So I will show you an example here. I'll show you how to do it right. Direct initialization. It allows for the direct initialization of member variables with values passed to the constructor or other expressions. This differs from assigning values within the constructor body, right? That's what we're doing. We're assigning values within the constructor body, okay? This is a bit of an old school way, I guess. I don't know if that's right to say it like that. I don't want to, because there's no school like old school. If it wasn't for old school, we wouldn't have today's school, right? So respect old school. So this is kind of the way it was done before, but better practice is colon. I'm going to cut this. Paste, brackets, separated by a comma. I'm going to cut this. I like to line mine up, but this is how it looks. If you notice, it's between, right? I could put it all in line, but it looks goofy, right? You don't want to do that. Okay, and then you take this, pass it in. Take this, and pass it in. Okay, and then I'm going to delete all this. Okay, because really there should be nothing here anyways, right? This is typically a nothing here. All right, Control-Shift-B. And that's it. That's the way it's set up. There's no, take note of the little details. If you do have another one, if there is another one, let's say you have a third one, okay, you would have a comma there, okay? But you notice the very last one has no comma, okay? So let's say you had a third one, for example, right? We're just pretending here. There obviously isn't one, but I'm just showing you as an example. That's how you would do it. And you can keep going, right? But you don't want to get too crazy with it. Again, you only usually have so many, either between 1 and 4 whatever information in your parameter list, right? It could be an int, it could be a bool, it could be a double. It just depends on what you're doing. Okay, so take note of that. The very last one has no comma. No, pay attention to the little details. So it's a colon, and then your variable that is private, and then whatever you're passing in, right? This would be the passing into the constructor part. And if I actually go like this, it should still, it should still all work. I want to test it. You don't normally do this sort of thing, but for all intents and purposes and testing, I mean, it's fine. Okay? No errors. I just built it. We're fine. Okay? This is called, and it's good practice. Okay? Member initializer list. All right? And there you go. That's how you do it, right? I did pass in the values, then I just kind of printed them off here. That's all I did, right? But originally we didn't have anything, right? So technically speaking, I need setters and getters for these too, right? Because I don't think it's going to work without them. All right? But just to give you a heads up, right? If you try this and you run it and you have issues, just make setters and getters for your two new variables, your two new private variables. Okay? That help? Let's keep going forwards here. So, I don't have any errors that built and everything's fine, so we're going to keep going here. So, we're kind of on const a little bit, right? So, going to here, right? So, the age. Here's an example about const, right? Const correctness. Let me show you an example that you shouldn't do, right? How you can violate const. The get age, okay? Get age is const, right? Let's go here. Get age is const. What if you decided to, let's say maybe, I'm not saying you guys watching, but anybody that's hypothetically doesn't know what they're doing might do something like where they're incrementing. These are called the increment operators. We'll get into that. We haven't really talked about those much. They're kind of the little finer details that you could use in code, but we're just kind of going straight into it here. All it really means is you're taking the variable and you're plussing 1. That's all it means, guys. There's nothing special or secretive about it. It's just a simple way of adding +1 to a value. If you notice, C++ has C++. And that's in relation to the increment operator that has been added to this language, right? Right? Remember, C, I actually don't know this, but C is, I got it somewhere in my notes, but C++ is the predecessor, or is that vice versa? I got that comment somewhere, but I have to try to find it. Let's see. Maybe I could find it quickly. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, come on, please. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I don't think I'm going to find it, guys. Maybe it's part of the increment decrement operator. Could be. I could go to that section since I'm talking about it now. Let's see if I can find it. The operators section. Operators. Did I talk about it yet? I don't recall if I did or not. Maybe I did. I hope I did. I hope I did. Okay, so right here. This is what I was looking for. Did you know C++ got its name by applying the increment operator to the name of its predecessor language, C? Okay, C. The idea is that C++ is an incremental improvement over C. Okay? C is solid still, guys. It's a pretty solid language. I haven't done a lot of it myself. The syntax is different, but the theory and everything's all the same. Okay, without C, we wouldn't have C++. All right, so respect C. Okay, x++ is the same as saying x equals x plus 1. Okay,
And then there's another way of writing it the same way. X plus equals 1. It all means the same thing. It's just the syntax, the way it's typed is just slightly different. Little nuances. That's all it is, guys. Same output, same result. Okay? There we go. Let's keep going forward. So let's say somebody decided they wanted to change this value here, right? This is being modified now, right? Think about it, right? So somebody's derping and they're trying to increment its age. Well, it's const. It cannot be changed, right? So the compiler will most likely yell at me. We'll see. There we go. See, its age cannot be modified because it is being accessed through a const object. Get used to seeing that statement. When you try little different things, yeah, that'll come up. You can actually click this little C link. That's a Microsoft C3490, and it'll actually bring up the a web page to kind of give you some support on how to solve your problem. It's very generic, but at least it's something. Sometimes it can be very helpful. It's helped me in the past. Okay? So there you go. Okay, guys? Cannot do that. You are not allowed. Alright? Because it's const. I don't think there's anything else. So yeah, that violates const, right? Keep moving forward here. All right. Yeah, I think everything's kind of good now. I talked about these here, right? Depends on which constructor you want to access. Okay. This might work. I don't know. It might not work. Again, I haven't made setters and getters for it yet, so I'm not sure if it'll work. Will it still print? It did, actually. 53 and 84 I got. Okay. Okay, which is correct. So it worked. No issues. Okay, again, I'm using proper coding ethics and practice. Learn this right from the get-go, guys and gals, okay? What did they call that? They called it... which section am I reading here? Oh, right, I read it somewhere else. Maybe I did. I don't know. Oh, where did I read that? Was that in the my search? Might have been. Let me just see. Let's bring up that search again. Let's see. Yeah, I read it in a search. A direct initialization. It allows for direct initialization of member variables with values passed to the constructor or other expressions. Remember, right? It's before the body, right? So, provides a mechanism to initialize class members directly before the constructor body executes. So that's why, right? Things are being initialized before it hits the body. And obviously it's before the body, so that makes sense too, right? So that's the reasoning behind it, why it's done. Because, you know, you want the information to be current, update, quicker, faster, better, smoother flowing program. Okay, efficiency, necessity for certain member types. Okay, they go into more detail. If you want, you can search what is a member initializer list in C++. I think I have that in my notes somewhere, but I didn't want to waste a lot of time looking for it. Okay, notice the way it's typed. Always indent. Don't type your code in line. You might see people that actually type their code in line like this. Don't do that, guys. Not with these.
Okay, so you might see a format that looks like this, and then the body and everything, right? So this would be all gone, right? Yeah, no. Okay, no. Okay. Okay. Just like that. That's proper formatting. Plus, it's easier to read. You can see it. Sometimes you'll see somebody put, instead of the comma being there, it might be here. Okay? That's fine too. It works just the same. All right? It works just the same. Just the little details. I like mine like this. That's fine. Each to their own. And everything ran smoothly. All right, how are we doing for time? Yeah, we're getting up there. If you provide any constructor, the compiler will not provide one at all. Thus, if you create a constructor that takes a parameter, you then have no default constructor unless you write your own. Okay, I have both here in a sense, but as I've showed you guys and gals, it just depends on how you're calling your constructor, right? I've already, right? You get this concept, right? I can't, so if I did this, what I'm doing here is I'm declaring it twice. That's why you get an error. Okay, so no declaring twice. With this one, I'm calling the default constructor, the one that has no parameters. All right? I know I've showed you that already, but now you know, right? For sure you know. Okay, why use the compiler to catch errors? Well, I can answer that. Who's going to want to use your program if it's glitchy and buggy and doesn't work? Nobody's going to want to buy it. Right? You want it to run smoothly. That's part of being the developer. You got to make sure, it's your job. You got to make sure everything's working smoothly. Right? I know, a lot of stuff is released and then things get patched or they get updated. That is common and normal. If you want to get your project out early, you could send out a beta version. You could do those sort of things. But you do have to keep working on the project and fixing and updating and giving people that are using your product or whatever it is, sending them updates, right? That's the common norm, right, of the world in regards to computers and technology and, applications. Although it would be wonderful to write 100% bug-free code, it would be ideal, but let's be real, we are human. I like when things kind of break. I like figuring things out. I do. You learn so many new things. You just, I don't know. Better, faster, I think. Okay, few programmers have been able to do so. However, many programmers have developed a system to help minimize bugs by catching and fixing them early in the process. That's why this error list is nice, right? Although compiler errors are infuriating and are the bane of a programmer's existence, I don't know. Myself personally, I don't whine or cry about those things. Like I said, I don't mind. Things are going to happen. And you're not always going to get errors. You're not always going to get warnings, right? You can still have garbage code. It just depends on kind of the way, what it's doing and where it's written and how it's written. It could be bypassed. Okay. Or ignored. right? Not everything is caught. All right. A weakly typed language enables you to violate your contracts without a peep from the compiler, but your program crashes at runtime. When, for example, your boss is watching. Worse yet, testing is of comparatively little help in catching errors. Right? You could use the debugger. A lot of people use that. I mean, I've used it here on and off, but not too extensively. Again, I like to figure out things kind of on my own. So, but that's just me. Worse yet, testing is okay, I already read that. Because there are too many paths through real programs to have any hope of testing them at all, right? Especially if you have multiple classes and you're calling other libraries. Other libraries usually typically are solid. Okay, so compile time errors, that is errors found while you are compiling. Okay? While you're compiling. So while you're writing code and then you build it, right? Building here, you can build through here. Control-Shift-B, right? That's the shortcut. Instead of doing that, you could click up here as well. That's when you'll get the errors, right? Because you build it. You have to build it. Even if you run it without building it, it's still going to be built. It has to be built every time. Okay? That's why I always do my own building. Okay. Are far better than runtime errors. Okay? Runtime is your dynamic. Okay? That is, errors found while you're executing the program. This is because compile time errors can be found much more reliably. It is possible to run a program many times without going down every possible code path. That's true. Thus, a runtime error can hide for quite a while. Compile time errors are found every time you compile. Thus, they are easier to identify and fix. It's true, yeah. They're also the most common ones that you can learn from. It is the goal of quality programming to ensure that the code has no runtime bugs. Okay, that's a running application. Okay, not a building and compiling time, right? That's all before. Compile time is you build, you compile, linker stuff is happening, and then the program's running. That's when it is harder to find those bugs. It's during the runtime, when the application is actually running and doing things. One tried and true technique to accomplish this is to use the compiler to catch your mistakes early in the development process. Again, don't look at errors in the error list as a negative thing. You're learning from that, guys and gals. You're learning. It's making you better and stronger coder. It truly is. Where to put class declarations and method definitions. Each function that you declare for your class must have a definition, right? Which we've done, right? Our setters and getters, they have definitions. Right? There's still definitions, stuff that's in the body. These are defined, they have definitions. That's really what they mean, right? The definition is also called the function implementation. So yeah, if you hear the word implementation, that's what they're referring to. Whatever's inside the curly brackets. So if you hear implementation, just think whatever's inside my curly brackets, or the function body, or whatever, however you want to look at it, or your scope. A lot of people call this scope because this has its own scope, right? The definition must be in a file that the compiler can find. Most C++ compilers want
that file to end with .c or .cpp. Okay, and you've already been experienced with the .cpp, right? We're using C++, so just go with the standard, go with the norm. A header file is .h. So this course uses .cpp, but check your compiler to see what it prefers. Many compilers assume that files end with the .c are C programs, and that C++ program files end with .cpp. You can use any extension, but the .cpp minimizes confusion. Okay, so I guess technically speaking, we could use .c here, and everything would work. Okay. You are free to put, again, if you're doing C++, just go CPP, don't change it. You could try it, I guess, if you want to see what's up. Okay, you are free to put the declaration in this file as well, but this is not good programming practice. The convention that most programmers adopt is to put the declaration into what is called a header file. I've already showed you guys all this, so we're kind of reading stuff that you already kind of know. Okay, we've created a header file, and when this is our source code. Our source code is the definition, right? This is the This is the heads up. Hey, I got a function, or hey, I got a constructor, right? This is the heads up information, right? This don't share your .cp, your source code. Never share your source code, okay? Okay, never share your source code, your implementation. Your implementation is your hard work, boys and girls. That's your hard work, okay? Don't share that. All right? That's why it's broken into parts as well. It all gets converted and compiled, right? It gets converted into information that the human can't read. So that's how it's all hidden, guys and gals, right? Somebody could open it up and try to read it. It's just going to be, it's just computer, you know? It could look like a bunch of hacks. It's just a bunch of random goobly blah 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 that nobody could read, right? They won't understand it. The convention that most programmers adopt is usually with the same name but ending in .h or .hp or .hpp. Here, I don't know, it's common to use .h, so that's what I go with. I don't use the other ones. This course names the header files with .hpp. Okay, you could. It's up to you if you want to rename this. You can rename them to .hpp, right? Don't think it would be an issue. And you put the definition of the class methods into a file called cat.cpp, except I've called it cat manager, so that's what they're referring to. You then attach the header file to the CPP file by putting the following code at the top of it, right? The include header, right? This here is the linking, right? We still have to tell the compiler, hey, right? Where to look for it. It's the heads up. Okay, so don't forget to include it. Again, I'm inside my .cpp, right? It's very consistent, guys and gals. It's the same thing all the time, over and over and over. I always put my IO stream in my header because the CPP reads from it. So the CPP communicates with the headers so it can access that IO stream. Okay? That's why I'm able to use standard CO. You can see I'm using it here. I don't have IO stream here. It's in my header, right? See that? So this is where I always put mine. Again, with main, it's at the top of the main anyways, which is part of the header. Okay, this tells the compiler to read the cat.hpp file. You guys know what I mean, but it's the cat, in my program, it's catmanager.h. The same as you had typed in its contents at this point. Right? So that's what they're kind of talking about. I'm trying to read this to the best of my ability, guys. Most of the time, clients of your class don't care about the implementation specifics. Reading the header file tells them everything they need to know, right? They can read the header. It's not a problem, right? All the magic is inside the implementation, right? All the magic is inside the implementation. So letting them see your header file isn't going to be a problem. Let them try to infer what you got going on inside, right? Good luck. Let's see, where am I here? Be aware that some compilers insist that the capitalization agree between your include statement and your file system. I don't know. Remember, it's case sensitive when you're typing stuff, right? It is case sensitive, right? What do I have? See, I have the exact same case sensitivity. Why bother separating the contents of your HPP file and your CPP file if you're just going to read the HPP file? HPP or H, it's all the same, guys. Back into the CPP file. Most of the time, clients of your class don't care about the implementation specifics. Reading the header file tells, okay, I know I'm reading this again. They can ignore the implementation files. In addition, you might very well end up including the HPP file into more than one CPP file. Okay, that's another reason why you have this pragma as well, right? The declaration of a class tells the compiler what the class is, what data it holds, and what functions it has, right? This is all the heads up information. Right? The declaration of the class is called its interface because it tells the user how to interact with the class. If you notice also, my main has the manager.h as well, right? Pay attention to those little details. It has to be included here as well. Same thing with the namespace, right? I know I've kind of went over this, but you have to include them both. Okay, guys and gals? The function definition tells the compiler how the function works. The function definition is called the implementation of the class method, and it is kept in a .cpp file, right? This one is the key one here. This is the one that you got to keep secret. Top secret. Right? This is all your hard work right here. Again, it's the implementation. The implementation details of the class are of concern only to the author of the class. Clients of the class, that is, the parts of the program that use the class, don't need to know and don't care how the functions are implemented. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. We're just about into overtime here. I was going to talk about inline. Maybe I could do that quickly. I use inline. So they're saying inline implementation, okay? So they're using inline with the get weight. I don't want to teach you guys that. Okay? No. I'm going to say no. I don't know if some company does that and you're working for a company. I'm not sure if they do or not. I don't use inline here, so you can inline your functions. Inline basically just kind of, instead of, remember we talked about that inline? I showed you some examples, right? Didn't I? I don't have inline here, right? So instead of going back and forth, remember, recall, guys and gals, where's the line by line part? Do I have that here? Probably not. Is it up here? Okay, anyways, when you run a program, it's all run line by line goes into the main, right? Takes in all the pre-information, line by line, till it reaches a function, yada, 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 right? So instead of going back and forth, so we're going to use this one as an example, the recent follower. Let's say this is what we call calling our function or invoking your function, okay? This is how you call it. Again, I don't need an object because, guys, it's within the main. It belongs to main. This belongs to main, and this belongs to main, okay? It doesn't belong to our class, our cat class, right? It doesn't belong to it. That's why we don't need, in case you were wondering, that's why we don't need an object. Okay, that's the subtle differences, right? Because this belongs to the main. All right? So I could inline this. Let's say I copied this and I called it here, and I called it here, and let's say I called it here, and then I called it here, and then I called it here. That's a lot of calling, right? So you're going back and forth. The program has to jump back in, jump back out, 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 jump back in, jump. You get the idea? That's a lot going on, right? It's a lot of extra redundancy that you don't really want. So that's kind of why inline is used. Okay, I'm going to show you something I use inline for, and I'll just kind of share some of my extra code that I do. So I'm just going to copy. I should have it here. So I have a couple, okay? Just a couple of lines. If you want to copy it from me, you can. Let's see, which one am I using? Okay, I'm going to do this one. I already have these definitions done. These are going to belong to the main CPP, okay? Recent follower is called here, okay? All right, so I'm going to put it below it. I call it print line separator. Okay, it's just a series of dashes. Instead of doing this all the time, all I do is just call this function, because you can call a function within a function, right? Remember that, guys and gals? You remember that. So I'm going to go, I have two of them, but I now have to put in my definition, right? Don't forget that. I'm going to go like this. There. I'm just going to put it right there. Okay? See, inline. Right? So I could use this line a whole bunch of times in my code, right? A whole bunch of times. As a matter of fact, I could get rid of this now. Okay? Just to show you. So instead of doing it here, this is just redundant. Why don't I just inline this right into my recent followers? And yes, it's global, right? So the program sees it. So now it's going to go into this function, it's going to spit out this line, then it's going to call this function. But because it's inline, it's kind of like this line is actually put right in. It's like it's already right there. It doesn't have to jump into here. It doesn't have to jump in here and call it and then go back.
put rate in. It's right there. It's like you don't see it. It doesn't look like it's there, but it's right there. It's right there. Okay, so check it out. We'll run it. And you should see that line right after the welcome. Let's go. I need an enter. I'm going to still drop the yays because why not? It's fun. Let's drop the yays. So I need a new line here is what I need, right? Or I could put the new line right here. However I do it, doesn't matter, right? I need that enter, right? I need an enter. I have another one that I like to actually put in to my code. And I'll just type it up here. Okay, it's a void. Say exit. You guys could use this if you want. I know this may be a little bit different to you, but we're gonna constant. It's a char. I'm using stuff. Now I'm using a pointer. I'm using stuff that you haven't seen yet. We are gonna get to that. So you might just see it and be familiar with it. Okay, const char pointer, and then this is the variable name. Inside of it, I'm gonna basically call the same function because it's inline. And then I'm gonna go standard, cout, and then I'm gonna return my variable. We will get into referencing and dereferencing and pointers, guys. Don't be in too much of a rush. We'll get there. Okay, so now I have to actually tell the program. I have to give the program the heads up, right? And then I'm just gonna go like this, and I decided to make it static. Good enough. Okay, there we go. Const char pointer. That's it. And I made it static. Should be able to build that, but I haven't called it yet, right? So I still have to call it, right? That's the third thing to do, is calling it. So clean up and exit, blah blah blah, and then I'm gonna go like this, and I may get rid of this. I don't know. Let's see. This is kind of an extra. I could actually do the same thing instead of doing this, but let's call it. So now I'm going to call it. Remember, this function belongs to main, right? So I could just direct call it. Okay, and then I actually have to put in, this is where I put my literal constant, right? Type ex to exit this console application. Okay, little fun things I like to do. And that's it. And that's how we do it, right? I'm passing in I know there are a string of characters. It's a bit of C, kind of. A little bit of C going on, right? Const char pointer. We'll go into the details later, guys. And now here I'm calling this function right here. But I'm going to get rid of this. I don't know if I need that. I'm going to get rid of it. And then I might do the same thing with this, maybe. I could actually do the exact same thing, create its own void function, and then just paste it, copy and paste it just like I'm doing the same thing here. So I'm going to build it, and then I'll have like this statement at the bottom at the end of my program now. Okay? Boom. Type ex to exit this console application. And then it's got the cursor just sitting there flashing. It's nice. EX, and it works just fine. Drop the yays. I might have needed that double enter. I don't know. I may have needed it. I don't know. You gotta kind of do some like finer, I don't know what's the word for it. Let's say you're doing a Word document, you know, and you got all the main stuff done, but you have to do some finer editing, right? You kind of have to do that the same with when you run your console application, right? You might want maybe a couple of extra spaces or whatever, right? Maybe I don't want this extra line. Maybe I want it above, right? I could change that. So, where did that actually print that? That should be at the top, is where I should be calling that, instead of the bottom here. Okay, so I'm gonna, I guess I'll just go like this. Okay. I'll run it right at the top instead. Actually, I have the hello parts as well. Let's see. Where's a good spot for it? I don't know, guys. Maybe right above this, because it is a welcome first. And there we go. I know it's getting a little bit messy. Where can I put this? I have a double enter here. I have an enter here. How many enters do I have, guys and gals? Let's see. Oh, I was thinking of, let me just see what it looks like. Okay, not bad. Now I have an extra enter at the top. And then this is now here. This is a little bit buggy, so I have to do some editing, right? Where's, okay, let me just see. Okay, right here at the end of this. Why is it doing that? Oh, what happened to, oh, right. So do I need, okay, I see. Let me just build that. We'll put an enter right there for now. Okay, good. That fixes that. That looks better. Looking better. It's nice and clean. So refinement, right? A little bit of refinement. I don't have, enter at the top of that. Where is that enter? There's an enter above it. I get a double enter here. So I'm going to get rid of the double enters. Whoops. I didn't want to do that. Because I want my welcome to be right at the top. Boom. And then I might want to, I don't know, maybe put a space after this. Now I'm not taking advantage of my string literal. I don't know what I'm doing there. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Okay, I don't know. I could have left it. I don't know. It's not looking too bad though. Looking a little bit cleaner and neater. Some organization. I got a couple of other tricks I like to do. So where my empty scope is, I like to kind of do this. Let's see if I can find that. Okay, so standard cout. \n added scope. I could have called it an empty scope, but whatever. \n curly brackets \n and there. So now I'm just going to copy this, do the same thing right at the bottom, and it's going to say just little things I like to do for fun. Again, if it's your own program, you could do these little things. Okay, so I'm really just printing out the curly brackets. That's what I want to show you, right? Because obviously I can't print these, so I actually have to be explicit and print one, right? So check it out. So when I run the program, you guys will see which is the curly bracket part, right? There we go. Now you can see the scope. Now you can see the scope. You can see where the object is created, and then you can now see where it's destroyed. Right at the end of the scope, guys. Right at the end of the scope. Let's go! That's it, guys and gals. That is it. I appreciate every single one of you, beautiful, intelligent people, for watching along. You guys are awesome. Keep being you. Keep being awesome. Remember to look in the mirror, okay, when you get a chance, and say, I am awesome. That's right, because you are. Keep up the good work. Keep persevering. Keep learning. I hope I'm helping you guys and gals. I know I could be a little annoying sometimes, but maybe I am. I don't know. I probably am. I don't know. Sorry, not sorry. But at least you're learning, right? You are learning. Right, guys and gals? You are learning. I think I am teaching, very well, all things considered. That is it. It is Friday. You have a great weekend. Be safe. Much love. Johnny with Whiskey Tango Sharp Coating. Whoever you are, wherever you are, have a great day, evening, night, noon, day, night, and evening. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now, and peace out. Peace.